we are back. Blimey, it's been nearly a month since I've done this. I've done YouTube for ages, you know what I mean? But I'm really looking forward to it. You know, got a few previews to do, vlogs as well. You know, fans are back at Selhurst Park. I'm looking forward to it, looking forward to the season. But of course, before we start the season, we of course got to do our Premier League predictions 21-22. How time flies, you know, been doing this channel for nearly 4 years. I mean, it's mental, it's crazy right now, you know, we're gonna up it, we're gonna get better, you know, we're gonna do well. Really looking forward. A lot of drama up ahead in football, in the Prem. Let's get straight on with it. By the way, before you start this video, make sure to like, share, comment as well, your opinions down below of what your predictions are, what you think of my predictions, and more importantly, subscribe. Road to 2K subscribers. Starting off with 20th place, I'm gonna go with Norwich City. Most seasons they come up and they go straight back down again. I mean, plus they sold Bunde to Aston Villa. I'll be honest, it's most likely that it's just going to be the same torrid experience for them in the Premier League. They're going to finish rock bottom. They haven't really invested well. You know, they got the same players that went down, such as Pukki, Campbell, etc. Like, I can't see them getting out of that bottom three. 19th place, I'm going to go with Watford. They haven't got the quality. Also, I mean, a couple seasons ago, they basically kept the same team that got relegated, such as the likes of Dini. Sarr is still at Watford as well. A couple players short from survival, else they wouldn't go down in my opinion. 18th place, now I'm not being biased here, but I'm going to go with Brighton. Lost their best defender, Ben White, to Arsenal for 50 mil this window. They haven't even made that wow signing, like a striker for 34 mil, a top class midfielder that would just suit them. You know, they haven't made that big summer signing. That's what I think Brighton fans wanted, but they haven't done that yet. Who knows, they could still do between now and the end of the window, but I can't really see that happening, or else they would have done it by now. Key players are getting on a bit and that. They've hardly shown progression since they've been promoted in the Prem. You know what I mean? They've always finished above the relegation zone, either 17th, 16th, 15th, ever since they've been promoted in the last like 4 seasons and that. You know what I mean? If I was a Brighton fan, I'd be getting pretty fed up and I'd be pretty worried if things are going to get a bit stale and it will lead to relegation in my opinion. 17th place, I've gone with Burnley. They're going to have another hard season. You know, I personally think they'll stay up. I mean, they've got a good enough team who know how to survive every season. They've got a good enough manager. Sean Dyche, who in my opinion will not allow them as a club and as a unit to go down and that. I mean, they haven't really signed many players. I think they've signed one player, and that was Wayne Hennessy on a free transfer from us boys, Crystal Palace. So honestly, it's just going to be a real stale season for them. I don't think they'll go down. You know, like I said, Dyche won't allow it. The fans won't allow it. They got a bit of spirit. You know, things go really poor for them, which they have done in that past seasons, and that they always pick themselves up. I think that's what I kind of like about Burnley. I think financially as well, they haven't really got much money in that, and they're just, you know, it's getting pretty worse for them and it's just not looking too good for their future. 16th place, I'm going to go with Newcastle United. Haven't had the best pre-season. It's been a bit mixed, 50-50. Won some games, lost one, drawn one. They even got booed off by their own fans. I believe it's a 1-1 draw against Rotherham. It's not really looking too good. They haven't even made a signing yet, I don't think, that a recognised signing that has been noticeable compared to the amount they made last season, such as the likes of Ryan Fraser and Callum Wilson, who have been alright. Callum Wilson, in my opinion, is their best player. He's one to watch this season. I personally think Steve Bruce will get sacked this season out of a poor start, and then as a team, as a club, especially with the supporters back, are going to be putting them under immense pressure. Do you know what I mean? I think they'll pick themselves up and they'll just about survive and finish 16th in the Premier League. You know, it will just be another boring old season. They always say they're going to get a financial takeover as well. That never happens, and it's just really stale at Newcastle. 15th place. Now, this might shock a few people. I'm going to go with Southampton. Danny Ings been a huge loss for them, refused to sign a new contract, so he went to Aston Villa a few days ago. However, new young bloods from Chelsea's academy, you know, such as Denelson Mu and Tino Liv. I can't even pronounce the second. I'm just going to say Liv, because I don't want people to get confused with Tino Werner, and that he's from the Chelsea under 23s. They signed him recently and that for, I think, like a 3-year deal, possibly even more. I think it'll just keep them fresh and steady. They'll avoid relegation. I don't think they'll finish high. I mean, they're the kind of team that start off well and then end on a down, or start off poor, end on a high. You know, that's what they've been like for the last few seasons since I've been watching Southampton and looking at them, the way they play. They've got players to pull them out of the hat, such as Ginebro and Redmond, Che Adams too. They've got that a bit of quality going forward and that. So So, but it's just a bit inconsistent sometimes. I think that's what frustrates Southampton fans and that as well. 14th place, I'll go with my boys Crystal Palace. Now we've made 4 decent signings in my opinion. Guy, Michael Elise, Anderson from Fulham, who was one of their best players last season despite them getting relegated. And Conor Gallagher, who again was one of their best players for West Bromwich Albion despite getting relegated. We obviously got him on loan from Chelsea because he was on loan from Chelsea last season at West Brom. So, you know, he's with us now. Very optimistic in my opinion. It was a bit mixed at first because we, you know, the first month, maybe like June, we didn't like sign no one. We didn't have appoint a manager. And then out of the blue, we signed we appointed Patrick Vieira, and he got his job out of the way. He looks like he's getting his transfer sorted. He still wants a striker as well, the likes of Abraham, Armstrong from Blackburn as well. We're interested in as well. So who knows what could possibly happen? But people are saying that it's a bit risky getting Vieira because, of course, the last time we had a young manager like De Boer, he lasted 2 months at Palace and got sacked. So it wasn't looking too good there. But I think we've learned from our experiences as a club. You know, we've still got quality players such as Tompkins, Sahar, MacArthur, you know, and a few new faces is something we need, a bit of young blood, you know. I think I'm really looking forward to it as well. You know, I think we're going to play with a lot of energy. We'll be very attacking. Plus, I think our defence should be solid enough. I mean, we lost the likes of Cahill, kind of disappointed about, but we've also lost a bit of deadwood such as Scott Dan, Van Aanholt, Hennessy, McCarthy, players getting on, players that want Premiership standards and that. So, yeah, in my opinion, I'm looking forward to the season. I think it'll be hard, but in my opinion, I think we'll just about have enough to stay up. Who knows? If we could finish high, that'd be a brilliant achievement. Maybe even get top 10. But I'm really looking forward to it. Obviously, Wilfred Zaha as well. You know, it'll be key for us. Benteke, Mateta seems to be doing well. We still somehow got players like Ayew. You know what I mean? I think the only positions we could sort of do if we want to progress forward is another striker and a winger. You know, I think we could have got Hudson-Odoi. We also are interested in Reece Nelson as well, who was kind of close to joining us a few days ago, but it's sort of gone quiet, so who knows. But a few more signings to be made, fingers crossed. 13th place, I'm going to go with newly promoted Brentford. Now, Brentford have got signings such as Miles from the Chelsea Academy, really young prospect, looking very good, and I personally think he'll do well for them this season. Christopher, who won the championship with Celtic, you know, a few seasons back as well, and that, you know, very experienced defender, very strong one there as well. One player to watch who's going to be very dangerous and deadly, and I think will have a good season scoring goals in the Prem. It's Ivan Toney, one of their best players last season, got 30 plus goals, won the championship Golden Boot. I've been looking at him and I rate him. I was really disappointed. I don't think we're going to get him, but, you know, I was really disappointed that Palace didn't get him last season, and I don't think we're going to get him this summer either. So, you know, I don't really know much about them, but they're very optimistic as a unit, as a team. They're very motivated. They're going to come with a lot of momentum after winning the playoffs, you know, end of the season, obviously, well. I mean, they're going to be... our first home game is against Brentford, and their first game, Brentford, is home to Arsenal. So, you know, imagine if they were to win both of them 2 games, which is possible for them. You know what I mean? If they won both of them 2 games, I can see them having a pretty good season. So 12th place, I'm going to go with Wolverhampton Wanderers. Now, they've got a new manager in charge, Bruno led. Nuno Santos got Tottenham, and that life at Wolves kind of got bleak. I mean, looking at it as a Palace fan and then the other neutral fan, I was kind of surprised that the fans weren't really disappointed and that upset that Nuno left. They didn't really beg him to stay in that. They weren't like, we want you to stay. There wasn't a protest or any like banners up around the ground about it. So I don't think they really care. I think they kind of needed a change. They had a poor season. They need to kind of rebuild in their team and as a club if they want to get back up to how they were, back to their best, finishing 7th, getting into Europe and, you know, having a good campaign. 11th place, Leeds United. In my opinion, they're going to have the same season as last season. They'll do well. They score a few goals. They'll have some outstanding performances and they'll have some really poor performances, or they'll just get outplayed. The way they play is very risky. Sometimes they win a better team. Sometimes they get battered themselves 6-2, 4-0 or something. So you never know what to expect with Leeds United. Their manager potentially will go at the end of this season and that. Not right now, but in a year's time, I don't think he'll be there. I don't think he'll take Leeds up into the European spaces. I mean, the only one thing I will say is that their fans will be back. There'll be a full crowd at Ellen Road for the first time in like a year and that as well. So, honest to God, I think they're either going to succeed or they're either just going to stay where they are, like around mid-table, finish like 10th or 11th or 12th or something. 10th place, Everton, new manager in charge, Rafa Benitez. He hasn't really been all good for them after the whole situation with one of their players getting arrested for a very bad crime. I'm not even going to say it, but honestly, right now, I mean, when you sign players a year ago like James Rodriguez, and you go from that to Andros Townsend, who is an ex-Palace player, of course, you know, he left Palace for Everton on a free transfer after his contract expired. It kind of says it all. It doesn't really show that you're progressing. It's more like they're trying to just stay afloat in the Prem, you know, stay mid-table. If they do get Europa League, it'll be a bonus for them. You know what I mean? They've got good players like Calvert-Lewin, Rodriguez, James Rodriguez, I should say, Pickford, who can be a bit 50-50. He seems to play better for England than he does for his club. So yeah, it's just going to be another Everton season where they're going to, you know, have some highs, some lows, and then they're just going to finish in mid-table. 9th place, Aston Villa. Obviously, they signed Bundeya from Norwich. I probably said that wrong, my bad. They also signed Leon Bailey for Bayer Leverkusen. I'm really looking forward to seeing my guy Leon Bailey play. Obviously Jamaican, of course, man. You know what I mean? He's a very good player. You know, he's pretty much a world-class player. If Grealish just leaves Villa for 100 mil, which is kind of likely, it's probably 95% likely that he is, of course, to Man City for 100 mil. I think Leon Bailey will be a perfect replacement for him. He's got pace. You know, his quality, his finishing, some of the goals he scored in the Bundesliga have been out of this world. So he's going to be so key for Villa. They've even got players like Roberto Traore, Ollie Watkins, Tyrone Mings at the back, Martinez, who I rate in goals, you know, a lot better than he did at Arsenal. Probably have another season like they had last season, to be fair. Plus the fans are back. It's going to give the team extra momentum, a bit of confidence boost as well. You know, the fans will always pick the team up, and football ain't the same without the fans. So yeah, I personally think Aston Villa are going to have a decent season, even if they lose Grealish, to be honest, because they replaced them with quality players. 8th place is glory Tottenham Hotspur, who still haven't won a trophy. It's been nearly, 14, 13 years right now. God knows, I've lost track. The whole Harry Kane saga is a joke. I mean, he hasn't turned up to training for the last 3 days, I believe. Tottenham aren't going to let him go. They just become pretty average, you know what I mean? If Kane doesn't play for them, if he refuses to play and he doesn't show up this season, they're going to struggle, and I don't think they'll be able to get Europe, in my opinion. So it's going to be a real stale and pathetic season for Tottenham. Even if you're a Tottenham fan looking at it as well, you're not going to be confident. So yeah, especially with the size of their stadium and their club, should be a lot better, but it's just not looking good for them. 7th place, finishing above Tottenham Hotspur. Surprisingly, it's going to be Arsenal for my prediction. They signed Ben White for 50 mil. I personally think it's a waste of money. I think 50 mil is a bit too much for a player of Ben White just because he got selected for England in Euro 2020. Sambury as well, Nuno, players like that they've signed, you know, young players, you know, with a bit of talent. In my opinion, I mean, looking at Arsenal's pre-season, it's been pretty poor. Same old problems defensively, too many mistakes from what I've seen in them in pre-season and that. It's just going to be, I mean, I think they'll finish better, a little bit higher, and I think they'll learn from their experience of last season and just know they can't afford to finish that low. But, I mean, they finished 8th last year. Now, this season, they're looking at, I'm going to predict them to finish 7th. So it's not really much of an improvement. Apart from that, they'll get into the European Conference League. So 6th place, I'm going to go with West Ham United. They've made a good signing, Areola. I was watching a training clip and he made some top saves. To be honest, I think he'll do better than he did at Fulham. He is a good goalkeeper. Of course, he was at PSG. Didn't do too well at Fulham because he was surrounded by crap players and that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they could have stayed up, but they weren't good enough. But no, I think I'll do well with West Ham. West Ham, quality players. Ben Rama had a good season last time out as well. Obviously finishing 6th, I believe, too. Declan Rice, Antonio Souček, Diop at the back. I mean, I think they're going to have a good season. Moyes will get them playing. The fans are going to be back. They're going to be real motivated. I don't think they can afford to let them down. Plus, they know they missed out on Champions League last season and that. Obviously, they're in the Europa League. That could affect them. That could affect their run of results in the Prem, their fitness as a unit. But if they can sign a couple female players, I mean, I know they're interested in Hudson-Odoi and Abraham just as we were in that as well. So who knows, if they're able to get them two, then I personally think they'll have a good season. And plus, you know, if they can up their game a little more, be a bit more consistent, they could get Champions League next season, to be fair. 5th place in the table yet again for the 3rd season running, unfortunately, is Leicester City. I mean, I'll be honest with you, they got very good attacking spirit. Nacho, Vardy, Harvey Barnes, Tielemans. In my opinion, though, I mean, I don't. If I can compare them to the other teams such as Liverpool, Man United, Chelsea, and Man City, who are in my top 4, I'm not going to tell you where they are yet. But honestly, right now, I can't see them finishing above them, you know. They'll probably beat a couple of them in a season, but they're not as consistent as them teams, you know what I mean? They've got the money, and, you know, they've got a big enough fan base, but judging on the last couple of seasons and the squad, they need just a couple more good quality players. They need like a De Bruyne, a good solid centre-back, maybe a top-class striker or something. On their day, they are beatable, but on their good day, they will absolutely demolish you. Do you know what I mean? If they're consistent, you know, if they could be more solid, if they could get a good run of form together, they will get top 4, but I don't think they've got enough yet to get into that top 4, especially against the other teams, like I said. 4th place, I'm going to go with Liverpool. They signed Kone. Haven't signed anyone else. They did play Hoffenheim and lost 4-3 with their full squad. Even Van Dijk played. So, in my opinion, I think they're going to have another average season. I think they're just going to kind of need to slightly rebuild and replace a few certain players getting on a bit, but who knows, they could prove me wrong. Salah last season did well, I think go for a good season again. Mane had a poor season, I think this season needs to step up, same for Firmino. Personally, I think they need a striker. I think someone like Mbappe would suit Liverpool, but he's too much money and there's a big asking price. I don't think Liverpool will be able to afford it. Klopp, he's a good manager, but this could be the season for some reason. I personally think that he could possibly get sacked either at the end or halfway through if things don't go right. Could have happened last season, but fortunately there was not enough pressure. This season the fans are back and Liverpool are going to be under pressure to perform. He needs to win a trophy, that's what I'm going to say, because last season was simply not good enough. No silverware, and we know how Liverpool are. They can do a lot better than that. 3rd place, Manchester United. A lot of people are probably going to have a go at me for not putting them up as winning the title a little bit higher. Obviously signed Jadon Sancho for around 75 mil from Dortmund, a very good signing. Got him off a real good deal there, made a pretty good bargain off that as well. Close to getting Varane as well. Yeah, I mean, apparently he's having a medical, but that was 2 days ago, and yet there's still no announcement of him signing. So yeah, it might just come out of the blue, but he is pretty close to joining United at the time of this recording, so who knows what's going to happen. I think they need a striker. They were interested in signing Haaland, but that's too much money. I don't think they'll be able to afford it. They have these blips and then they have these highs, like they go 20 games unbeaten, and then they lose like 3 out of 5 or something, and then they just go back down, and then they end up finishing 2nd or finishing 6th or something. It's just a pretty unsuccessful season. So they got to win silverware as well and stop flopping in finals and semi-finals. Right, 2nd place. I was going to put this team to win the title, but I was like, they haven't really made a big signing yet like Haaland, which they are chasing for, but I don't think they can afford him with the money that Dortmund are asking for. 2nd place obviously is Chelsea. European champions. Personally, I think the players are going to be on a bit of a high. They might mentally feel just overexcited a bit too much. Maybe getting a bit big for their boots, thinking they're the best team, like, you know, in the Prem and that might kind of slightly backfire on them. You know, it wouldn't surprise me if they were to win the title this coming season and that. But, you know, I think if they would have got Haaland, if they had a better striker up front, I think they would. Solid defence, but going forward they just need to improve. Obviously lost Giroud to AC Milan. Werner needs to really step up. He had he didn't have a bad season. He won the Champions League for God's sake, and he scored some good quality goals for Chelsea, but he just needs to improve on his finishing and stop being caught offside so many times. You know, they got it in them, they got it in their locker to win the title. They just need to be consistent, and they just need they need the quality striker up front. Werner could be that striker, but I don't think he'll have it in him this season. And I think they're going to miss Haaland. They're going to miss a chance to get Haaland. I don't think they'll get an opportunity like this again either. Finishing top of the Prem yet again, Manchester City. Now, I know they lost Aguero, but they are going to get Jack Grealish, and I think it'll do well. I think he's going to be such a major boost for them, you know what I mean? Another quality midfield. There's something different. You know, I think he'll play out wide on the left. They are looking to sell Raheem Sterling, but he did have a good Euro, so maybe Pep will change his mind. I think they do play well without playing a striker. I think they do better in the Prem than they do in the Champions League. Do you know what I mean? The last season when they flopped in that final against Chelsea, losing 1-0, they knew they mucked it up, and I think they'll learn from that. They'll either progress, you know, and just go for it in the Champions League and just go for it in the Prem. You know, I think they're too good as a unit. They play some really good football. They score goals for fun. If they can get players like Gundogan and De Bruyne playing, you know, just on point for our whole season rather than just getting injured in that, because they do get injured pretty much a lot. You know, they've got to maintain their squad pretty well. Pep is very good at rotating his squad around and around and that. You know, adding players in, adding players out, and knowing when the players fully fit and knowing when the players not. They've got a solid enough defence. Ruben Dias, John Stones and Kyle Walker. You know, obviously Phil Foden as well, not to mention, had an alright Euros, but he plays better for his club than he does for his country, in my opinion. So, you know, it's going to be a good season. I think they're going to, you know, their quality again and their experience is just going to be too much for other teams to handle, hence to why I think they're going to win the title. So there you have it. Those are my Premier League predictions 2021-2022. It's going to be a mad season. Really looking forward to it. No content of the first week of the Premier League season. We're away to Chelsea, so I am away. But second week after that, we're home to Brentford. I've got a preview coming up for that, and a vlog as well. If all goes to plan and that, you know what I mean? Obviously through this COVID stuff and that, which is dying down. Fingers crossed. But yeah, it's going to be a mad season. Really looking forward to it. New blood in the teams, new signings, new rules, new everything. Fans are back. It's going to be mad. No mask involved as well and that. So yeah, come on you Palace. It's going to be a good one. And yeah, make sure to like, share, subscribe. Like I said, comment down below what your thoughts on my predictions and your predictions as well. And yeah, don't go change it. Make sure to subscribe. Road to 2K. It's gonna be a new season, new start. Let's get this channel back up and running. And I will see you lot for the Brentford game. Peace.